Trailblazer game day here on the Fan Sports Network and Trailblazer Sports Vision. Thank you for joining me. I'm Caden Formaster representing the Fan Sports Network crew today, and we are bringing you the final Utah Tech Trailblazer game day of the season. Man, we have gone through so much already in the last few months of football, and we are putting it all to rest after this game today. Eastern Kentucky is in town, taking on the Utah Tech Trailblazers at Greater Zion Stadium, and that means that we are in for a show. Now, let's talk a little bit about this game. We can look back at last week from the Trailblazers and look a little bit at their opponent for this week as we dive on into it. So last week against West Georgia, out at West Georgia, a struggle, obviously. So they come up short, and it's not just short. I mean, it was a shutout, 23 for West Georgia, and they were able to hold the Trailblazers without scoring a single point. So with that, what do you do? How do you bounce back from that? What did you do well last week that you can continue to do? What can you learn from? Well, obviously, there's a lot to learn from. When you look at it, I think that there's going to be a lot on the side of turnovers. You've got to protect the football. You have to make sure that when you're getting close to the red zone that you can somehow punch it in and get a score, whether it's a punch it in for a touchdown or you can get one through the uprights and get a field goal. A score at the very least has to be something. It has to be the minimum. And the turnovers in the red zone and just in the final stretches of the drives last week were not good. So I think that's going to be one of the big keys here is making sure that they're playing a good, clean game of football. That's something that we got to look forward to if you are the Utah Tech Trailblazers. Now, when it comes to their opponent this week, that is, of course, going to be Eastern Kentucky. And what does that mean? Well, Eastern Kentucky is an opponent that should be a beatable opponent for the Trailblazers here. Utah Tech has been in a lot of games. We say this a lot, and now we can look back on an entire season's worth of football, and we can say, what does that mean when you're in a lot of games? Here's what it means to me. Utah Tech has played probably, and I haven't looked up the stat on this, I would guarantee that they have played almost as many, if not the most amount of top 25 ranked opponents in the FCS. It has been insane. First 3 games of the season, all ranked opponents. You throw in Austin Peay, who was ranked, Tarleton State, who was ranked, Abilene Christian, who was ranked, or West Georgia was ranked. To be fair, SUU, I know that they have not been ranked, but they've played them in the middle of a stretch where SUU is playing like a ranked team. So I know they're not ranked, but the competition was definitely good there. So when you start to pull back the curtain on all of these different things, and it's like, all right, the non-ranked teams that they played against, they've split wins in those games, right? The first non-ranked team, they beat them. Northern Iowa, they beat them. The next one, close loss to Central Arkansas. Next one, you lose to SUU. The next one, you win to North Alabama. That's it. Those are the only games they've played against teams that are not ranked. 4 total games. So, sitting at 500 if you want to look at it from that perspective. Eastern Kentucky comes into town today as an unranked opponent. How does this look for Utah Tech? Well, let's talk about it. They have good wins under their belt. And then by they, I mean Eastern Kentucky. They've beat teams like Austin Peay 34-20. That was earlier on in the season, but Austin Peay was a ranked team. Very good win for them there. Now, since then, they've struggled. Losing to North Alabama, losing to Tarleton State. They did get a win against Central Arkansas. That was a good win for them there, 34-13. They have lost to SUU. They lost to Abilene Christian. Eastern Kentucky is going to be it's going to be a challenge. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that this is a game that Utah Tech should go in there and just absolutely thrive. I'm not going to say that they will thrive in this game. What I am going to say is that they have the capabilities of winning this football game. Learn from your mistakes last week. There were a handful of them, okay? There are a good handful of mistakes. Learn from those. Keep control of the ball on offense. We're going to be talking with Coach Greg Stevens coming up later in the show. He's going to talk more about what it means to play just good Trailblazer football, and especially on the offensive side. And he is going to talk about those turnovers. So pay attention to that coming up here at the later end of the show here with Utah Tech Trailblazer Game Day. But we will have more to get to in this show as well as we're diving on in the final Utah Tech Trailblazer Game Day of the season, getting ready for Eastern Kentucky coming up. So again, should be a good one. I'm really excited for this one. As of right now, again, Eastern Kentucky, the opponent ahead for Utah Tech, I think to me is a beatable opponent. I really do. I think that as of right now, they are a beatable opponent. They have the handful of wins, sure, but they've struggled a little in the UAC. To be fair, so is Utah Tech, right? And we'll see. We'll see how they do. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun game, and I just want to see the Trailblazers show out here at Greater Zion Stadium on their final game of the season, and of course senior day as well. So we got to make sure to throw our seniors a bone. We're super excited to see them play for their final time here at Greater Zion, and it's going to be a blast. So, all right, going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be diving into some player interviews. Devin Dixon was able to go to Greater Zion Stadium, catch up with a few of the players during this week, and hear from them. We've got Micah Vuki and Nolan Reynolds that we're going to be hearing from, and then as I mentioned before, we're also going to be jumping into the coordinator's corner, where I got to catch up with offensive coordinator Coach Craig Stevens. All of that coming up in today's show. Stick around with us here with the Fan Sports Network crew on Trailblazer Sports Vision for Trailblazer Game Day.
I'm here with one of the elder statesmen at Utah Tech Trailblazer football, getting ready for senior day. And Mr. Vuki, how we doing, buddy?
I'm feeling great. I'm ready to go and ready to do my part to help this team get a victory on Saturday.
Micah, you've been here since 2021 out of Layton High School. You know, talk about how excited you were to get here, and now talk about how excited you are to play in your final game as a Blazer.
It's a bit surreal for me ever since I started here back in 2020 when things were a little bit hectic, but I took my opportunity to come walk on here with the team and be able to show what I can do, and now I'm here finally my last bit of stretch.
You know, talk about the ride. What's maybe a favorite memory? Is there a game or a play or a memory from practice that really resonates and stands out about your career here?
I think one of the biggest moments I think we had was our upset over SFA back in 2023. You know, to go to their place, you know, we haven't got a victory on that season. All of a sudden, we upset them in their home territory and ruined their homecoming days. It was a great moment for us.
I love it. What personal play, maybe a favorite play, big tackle or something along those lines?
I think my favorite play was the back-to-back tackles for losses I had last season against NAU. You know, you never know when those moments are going to come, and I just had to be ready for it. And when they showed in front of me, I made the plays.
Now talk to me a little bit about what's the emotions going to be like. You got a bunch of friends and family coming in for the senior day festivities on Saturday?
I am. It's a bit surreal for them too. They've been with me through all this process, and they've supported me all the way. And to finally see me get to the end of it, it's a bittersweet moment, but one that I fully accept, and I am ready to go through all the way.
What are you studying? What's the next next step, next phase? You know what you're going to go do in the next chapter of life?
So the next phase of my life is actually a bit interesting. So I'm finishing my master's degree in sport management performance this semester, and then I'll be joining the local university wrestling team here for their season as well.
Really?
Yes.
What made you decide to do that?
I've been interested in wrestling with them for a while. There were some mitigating circumstances with coaching that didn't allow me to compete with them. But once Coach Anderson came over, I asked him for his permission, and since then I've been wrestling with them at their heavyweight class ever since.
Now, you must have wrestled in high school, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you up to speed on that, or has it been a long time? When was the last time you wrestled other than practice?
In the practice? Oh, it's been a couple months ever since season, but it'll take me a little bit of an adaptation to be able to get used to wrestling conditioning and being able to prepare for their season as well. So, but I'm ready for the challenge. I'm ready to go.
You just can't stop it. The season's ending. You got to get one more sport to compete. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Parents are behind that. Everybody you know in your circle excited about that?
Oh, yes. All my old high school buddies, they've been watching me in this whole journey as well, and they've seen my growth and how I've been able to overcome certain challenges in my life, and to be in this moment now and be able to finish out not only this season but also look forward to competing with the wrestling team and to be able to show what I can do there.
What's the one thing you're most proud of your time spent here at Utah Tech? Is there one thing that really, you're going to tell stories about years from now to your kids and your grandkids?
I think the one thing is overcoming certain struggles. I had to overcome a couple injuries early in my career to be able to get to just to this point to be able to play. And then also the opportunities to wrestle with the team led me to do well for them and be able to participate with them and to show that I'm still tough despite my age.
You had to go through the transition years, the probationary period, and going full D1. You had to go through the COVID years, and here you are. Enjoy your Saturday, Mike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll be rooting for you, buddy.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Getting you ready for kickoff here, senior day. Trailblazers taking on Eastern Kentucky, and I got one of the guys that protects the quarterback with me. Nolan hanging out with me here, one of the offensive linemen, a captain, a guy from Riverside, California that's been here since 2021, right, Nolan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's been a long time, man. Take me through, when you try to summarize your experience here at Utah Tech, how would you explain it to people?
I'd say it went about how I wanted to go. I didn't have any regrets about it. I think started out, walked on here and then earned my way, get some playing time, got put on scholarship, and then ended up starting. So really happy about how it went.
Yeah, started last year, started again this year, captain, got that C on your chest. That's something you probably don't take lightly.
No, sir. We're very proud of it, very proud of all my guys. I tell them every week that I can, that I love them. This is why I play football.
You guys saving some points for senior day? I know that was a tough pill to swallow going down there on the road and not getting any points on the scoreboard, but maybe that's fireworks this Saturday.
No, definitely. We're taking it as a challenge this week to definitely help out our defense. They've been helping us and putting us in games, and it's our turn to show up.
Talk to me a little bit about maybe a favorite memory here. Senior day, you're playing the finale of your career, unless you're going to chase professional sports. Is that in the cards?
It's a possibility. I'm still weighing it.
Okay, you're still weighing out your options. But
yeah.
As of right now, for what we know, this might be the last time you put the helmet on and the pads
Yeah.
on. What are the motions going to be like? And give me a favorite memory of your time here at Utah Tech.
Favorite memory? It's hard. Every time we travel, I'd say that's where we get really close to the team. My biggest memory, though, probably the win at SFA. I feel like
Mookie said the same thing.
it was a big one. It was a big win for us that season. That year, it was the first year at Utah Tech, and I think it really just changed the trajectory of that season and the team overall and the program overall.
All right, favorite play. Give me a pancake block or something. What favorite play that you made at your time here?
It was a penalty, but a couple weeks ago in the Tarleton game, I rolled a DB about 20 yards downfield and jumped on him, and they called a penalty, but even guys on the Tarleton sideline came up to me and said that wasn't a penalty. So I counted as a mean pancake.
When the opposing team gives you props,
Yeah.
you know you're okay.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Talk to me a little bit about the game plan for the offense this week. How's morale, spirits been? The nice thing is fans probably know you guys can triple up your wins from last year if you guys can win on senior day.
No, definitely. I think it's a big challenge for us to, again, get the offense going. We want to come in and not back down to them, punch them in the mouth. And I think we're all taking it as a challenge to send the seniors out, like us, and the younger guys to send us out on a win.
A lot of seniors going to be playing their final game. Our emotions going to be, excited, heart going to be heavy, going to be nerves more than normal, knowing that could be the last game.
I think we're taking it we're going to be excited to come out here and play one more time. I think we're going to leave it all on the field, and it's because it's our last time, and what are we saving it for?
Just curious, like, after practice, have you guys, other seniors got together and been like, oh, man, I can't believe how fast it's went by? Is there conversations like that?
Oh, definitely. Every practice, I'm talking to Leighton and just seeing how fast the last 5 years have gone. It's just looking back on it. It's from Dixie State to Utah Tech. It just seems like it's gone way fast.
A little bit about your friends and family. Big crowd coming to watch you play on Senior Day. Who's coming? Who's your biggest fan?
I got my parents coming out. My grandma, she's my biggest fan. She won't be here though, but got my parents coming out, so it'll be fun.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
Nolan, thanks for stopping by. Go get them, and let's see some pancake blocks. Don't
Yes,
get
sir.
a penalty this time.
Yes, sir. Go Zers.
Mike Ovuki, Nolan Reynolds, we want to thank them so much for being a part of Trailblazer Game Day today, and catching up with them is always great. It's nice to know more about them personally and about their goals and of course, about football. We like to know their perspective on the game and how they're doing and whatnot, so it's always nice to catch up with them and get to know more from our Utah Tech Trailblazers. So appreciate them again for hopping on and taking the time to get interviewed, and we get to learn more about them, which is always great. We're going to be stepping aside, taking a break. More coming up next on Trailblazer Game Day, so stick around. We have offensive coordinator Greg Stevens, who I caught up with earlier this week. We're going to be listening from him and then wrapping it up before we send it out to Greater Zion Stadium, and Rod Zundel, who's going to take it from here and get us ready for kickoff. Eastern Kentucky is in town, and the game is coming up shortly, so stick around with us here on Trailblazer Sports Division and the Fan Sports Network. Here we are inside the coordinator's corner. Keaton Formaster, and joining me is offensive coordinator Coach Greg Stevens. And Coach, we've made it to the final game of the season. We're all the way through. We're just going right along now, and hey, it's the last one. Let's go out on a nice high note, shall we?
Yeah, it'd be great to get us a win, find a way to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about where we've come from the beginning of the season until now as we're getting closer to the end here. Tell me about some of the things that you've seen in some of the progress that this offense has made from when you started the season till now.
Well, I think, we've seen progress with a lot of our younger guys that, we're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores, so younger kids, and they've made a lot of progress as far as, their ability to make plays and do the right things and their fundamentals and techniques. But, our season probably hasn't gone the way we'd want it to go. We've lost some close games. We haven't played as well as we'd like to play. And, hopefully this last game will find a way to, get us a win.
So tell me about what some of the things are that you're looking forward to against this Eastern Kentucky team, specifically as you're looking at their defense and some of the things that you're seeing there.
Yeah, so defensively, Eastern Kentucky, they're a solid defense, probably one of the best defenses in our league. So we're going to have to be real sound. We're going to have to, stay on the field. What I mean by that is we got to maintain our drives. We haven't been great at, creating a lot of explosives, but if we can stay on the field, do a good job on third downs, and in order to do that, we got to be in, third medium, third and short situations so we convert and stay on the field. And then we got to convert. We got to, score points. Like last week, we had 3 turnovers in the red zone, 3 fumbles in the red zone. And when we get down there, we got to score touchdowns.
And I think that's a good point. That was going to be my next question anyway, was just talking about the turnovers. That has kind of been an Achilles heel for you guys this season so far. How do you guys work on keeping turnovers low? I mean, it's such an unpredictable thing. So what is the concept there of just saying, hey, we got to keep turnovers low? It's easy to say it, but how do you put it into practice?
Well, we work on it every day. We have, ball security drills we do every day, but it comes down to when the bullets are flying and stuff, is using the right fundamentals and techniques you've been coached to do. And, from a quarterback standpoint, we got to make the right decisions. This past week, I know Bronson had an interception, but it was on a Hail Mary. But, the previous week we had some turnovers from the quarterback. This last week was more we were fumbling the ball. But we just got to do a better job of our overall execution. And like you said, we got to take care of the football. We can't turn it over and expect to win games.
Yeah, absolutely. As you're looking to try to get your 3rd win of the season in this final game, and then, for you guys, it is a home game. I'm sure that playing in front of the home crowd and getting to sleep in your own beds is always nice.
Yep.
That's always going to be a positive. But what are some of the positives you're taking into the game this weekend?
Well, kind of like we talked about earlier on, is I think we've improved. A lot of our younger guys that weren't maybe playing earlier in the year have stepped up and are playing now. We've had a real good week of practice. Our guys have been focused. We're wanting to, send our seniors out right. And then always, that last game of the year, if you can win that last game of the year, it sends you into the off season on a positive note. And the guys got that extra step going into, winter conditioning, helps us in recruiting and all those type of things. So this is a big game. That last game of the year is always a big one.
One of the more difficult things that you guys have had to go through this year is just the fact that you've had a tough schedule. I mean, arguably one of the toughest schedules in FCS football, you could say, with the amount of ranked opponents that you've had to play against. Yeah. Some of those were, of course, out of the UAC, and plenty were in the pre-conference schedule. Tell me what you guys have learned from playing against this really good competition.
Well, the one thing I think that our kids have learned and we've learned is we can compete with anybody. I think, at the FCS level, a lot of those teams that were ranked, we probably had 4 games. It's come down to the last possession this year. And the biggest thing we got to do is just learn how to finish. But, I think our kids have learned that, whether, whoever it is we're playing, we can go out there and compete and play with them.
I can agree with that. I mean, just from watching every game this season as well, there's been a lot of games that have been very, very close, right down to the wire. One of the things that we've talked about before when we've sat down is finishing off games, right? Finishing off those close games. If it's a close game here this weekend against Eastern Kentucky, I'm sure that there's got to be a game plan for just finishing strong. Tell me about the mentality that you try to instill in your players of making sure that they finish out these games.
Yeah, the big thing is you're going to, for the most part, all my years of coaching, you're going to play the way you practice. And so we put a big emphasis in practice, all the way from the period 1 to the end of practice of, having that same energy and tempo and intensity that you need, because you got to be able to play 4 quarters. And that's probably the one thing, we haven't done a great job of this year is playing 4 quarters. And our guys are learning. We're getting better at it. But we got to learn to play 4 quarters. And then the other thing is just sometimes it's hard to simulate in practice, but being able to make plays and do the right thing when you're in, a stressful situation, like the end of the game when, oh boy, I got to make this play here. I got to do this now. But if you'll, if we'll put them, make them compete and put them in those situations in practice, it becomes easier on game day.
Absolutely. Well, we have game day coming up, Eastern Kentucky, this Saturday. Final thoughts as you're getting ready to go into the final game of the season.
Well, we're just hoping that we can come out, we can execute well offensively and move the ball up down the field, like we said, and we can score a bunch of points. And then, we got to take care of the football, number one. We can't have turnovers, and we got to do a great job on third downs.
Love it. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Coach.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Coming up this week. Hopefully you got some good Thanksgiving plans.
Oh, yeah.
So,
best holiday there is.
Absolutely. Yeah. The food, the family. What else could you ask for, right? And football.
And football. There you go.
Yeah, it's the 3 Fs, food, family, football.
That's right.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you stopping in. Coordinator's Corner, Coach Greg Stevens, everybody with the Utah Tech Trailblazers. And we've got Trailblazer football coming up for you against Eastern Kentucky.
Thanks.
Coach Greg Stevens, we appreciate him stopping by and giving us a little bit of insight into what's going on with the Trailblazers and learn more about the offense specifically. And there's a lot to learn on the offensive side still. I know that it's the last game of the season, but I feel like this offense has grown. I do feel like this offense has grown. But I feel like there's still more that they can accomplish. And a lot of these guys are still young. I would expect that we're going to see a good handful of these guys back in a Trailblazer uniform next season. It's hard to tell. Transfer portal's always, it's a beast. So it's always hard to say whether or not guys are going to be able to come back or not. But if they do come back, of course, welcoming them with open arms for sure. It's been a fun season. It's tough. I think 2-win season so far. Let's make it a third win here this afternoon. But I think it's been tough for some fans, but I feel like the morale from the players is still there. And that's all that really matters. As long as the players are out there and enjoying themselves and having fun and learning and they're growing and trying to get better, that's all that matters. Grow the program, get better year by year. Already better than last year, so let's keep growing, which is important. And we'll be standing by their side next season when it comes around. We're getting closer to kickoff, about a half hour away now from the top of the hour when we're going to be kicking this one away. Eastern Kentucky in town to take on the Utah Tech Trailblazers. Just to get into it real quick for Eastern Kentucky, just to know a little bit more about the opponent. So they've ran with 3 different quarterbacks. Really 2 different quarterbacks, we'll say. One of them doesn't really count. We'll just say that. Jordan Potts and Miles Burkett. These few quarterbacks, we've seen a few from each of them. I will say they're running a similar system, or at least they're running into similar problems that Utah Tech Trailblazers have run into as well. And just that's been turnovers, right? Miles Burkett is sitting with 6 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, 53% completion percentage. For just over 1,300 yards. Those are just okay numbers, right? They're just okay numbers. Honestly, very similar to the numbers we're seeing from Utah Tech as well. So it is possible that the turnover battle could be the key to this game, and I'm going to leave you with that. I do think that is currently the key to the game for this game this afternoon, is to win the turnover battle. Part of that will be on the defensive side, of course, to make sure that you're getting those takeaways, but arguably the more important part of it is just not to lose the takeaways too. I mean, if the defense takes 1 takeaway, but the offense is clean, you still win that turnover battle, right? And to me, it just comes down to that. The offense needs to make sure to have a clean game, limited turnovers. Interceptions and fumbles have to stay low. It would also be very nice to avoid 3 and outs. That's always going to be high on the list because let's be real, 3 and outs usually mean that you have to punt it from pretty far back, and you might be giving the opponent a little bit better field position. So even if you have to punt it, just try to make it not a 3 and out. If you're punting from midfield, it's a little bit better. But of course, still, it's all about scoring. If the ball is in your hand, scoring drives matter, right? I don't want the consolation of a midfield punt, right? That feels wrong in so many ways. Let's just see some scoring. That's what I like to see. I'd like to see the offense move the ball. I'd like to see them win the turnover battle, and I'd like to see the defense be a part of that as well by taking a few away. So we'll see how they do. We'll see how they do against Eastern Kentucky. That game coming up for us shortly. And again, we appreciate you joining us. The final game of the season is here. Greater Zion Stadium in St. George, Utah, as we are wrapping it up before we get on into everything else that the rest of the year has to offer. Thanksgiving coming up this week. And of course, want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. And definitely happy holidays, as we've got a bunch more coming up in the next few months as well. So appreciate you being with us. Heading out to Greater Zion Stadium now. Rod Zundel is going to carry the reins from here. And until then, thank you for joining us on the Fan Sports Network and Trailblazer Sports Vision.
three, 1, 2, 3. Fucking go!
How about that? Touchdown, Trailblazers! Touchdown, Trailblazers!
Welcome to Trailblazer Kickoff, presented by Camping World of St. George. Your next great outdoor adventure begins under the big American flag.
Let's go!
It all wraps up this afternoon, the season finale. 17 seniors playing for the final time in a Utah Tech jersey. We're 30 minutes from kick, Trailblazers and Colonels of Eastern Kentucky.
And welcome inside Greater Zion Stadium for the season finale, Utah Tech and the Colonels of Eastern Kentucky. Hi there, everybody. Rod Zundo, along with my partner, former Trailblazer defensive lineman Max Christensen III. Max, 17 seniors suiting it up or in the stadium for the final time as members of this football team. Anyone who's ever played the game of football has had to go through this. Your career is coming to an end. All those times since you were in Little League, 6 or 7 years old, the finality of it all is very emotional, not just today, but all week long.
Yeah, it really is. You're closing a chapter on your life, really. I mean, like you said, you start from the time you can walk and chew gum at the same time, playing football and run around hitting guys, and now it comes to a close. Not a lot of guys chasing NFL contracts in this game. Not a lot of guys are going to pursue football after this, and so you got to make the most of this game. It's got to count for more than it ever has before.
Trailblazers coming in with a record of 2-9 overall, 1-6 in the United Athletic Conference. Eastern Kentucky 4-7 overall, 2-5 in the UAC, and they are in depression mode, Max, because they were a playoff team a year ago, and they lost a lot of players to big schools and into the Canadian Football League. So they're looking down and saying, what a horrible season. Trailblazers looking up because they've been in a lot of games. They've been a lot more competitive than they were a year ago.
I think you hit it right up there on the head. They've played a lot of close games this season. Last year was, a lot of blowouts, a lot of bad football. They've really tightened it up, have played really good teams, very, very close, just haven't been able to get over the hump and finish. So there's a ton of good stuff for the Trailblazers to lean on this season. Hopefully they can finish it off with a win today.
Well, a win today would be 3 wins on the season, triple the amount they had last year. So if you follow the progression, triple the amount of wins this year, 3, triple the amount of wins next year, which will be 9. I mean, I'm no mathematician, but I think that's what it equals to. So,
yeah.
And then we'll hear from Coach Anderson a little bit about how important this game is for a building block for next season. But this is the third meeting between these schools. Last year, we lost in Richmond, Kentucky, 28-17. 2 years ago, a shootout here, 34-30, lost Eastern Kentucky. And I'd expect this game to be similar to the one they had here 2 years ago. Both teams averaged 16 points a game for Utah Tech, 18 points a game for Eastern Kentucky. The odds are we were taking bets. Is anyone going to get over 20? I think it's going to be a little higher scoring game than that.
Yeah, and like you said, it's the last game of the season. Neither team's looking to make the playoff or to make a postseason push. Pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
If you're on offense, you're going to have a lot of trickery, a lot of big plays, take some risks that you might not take during a normal game.
Trailblazers coming off a loss at West Georgia last Saturday, 23-0, and that score is misleading. Trailblazers had 4 turnovers, 3 of those right near the 20-yard line of West Georgia in their territory, Max. They had their chances. They just shot themselves in the foot. They've had 8 turnovers in the last 2 games.
That's not a great way to try and win football games, right? A lot of teams, if they're able to win the turnover battle, they win the football game. Utah Tech hasn't been able to do that.
Trailblazers were able to move the ball up and down the field right here. Bronson Barban finds Shamar Garrett. This was early on in the first quarter, but just a couple of plays later, Max had a catch at the 15-yard line and fumbled it away and ended that drive. And then they got it going again.
Yeah, Bretton Stone here with a 17-yard run. Looking pretty good for the Trailblazers trying to build this drive, but then the drive stalled, and they missed a field goal. And right there, missing out on 10 points during that game. Then you look at it again, you're coming down later in the third quarter, another good drive. Chris Street with a first down, and then one of my favorite plays, a misdirection. Bronson Barban throwing it back to Eric Olson for 43 yards. But then a couple plays later, there was another fumble in the red zone, which, again, cost the Trailblazers mightily. And then, in the fourth quarter, on the move again, Barban to Olson, once again, another great connection, but another fumble, which ended the drive. That's a possible 28 points that were left on the field because of fumbles near or inside the red zone.
And then on defense, Trailblazers, they played well enough on defense to get it done. Jay Sweeten had a nice game with the TFL there. Oh, that was on third down. They got off the field.
Yeah, Jay Sweeten making that stop on third down, and then another third down stop. Brevin Chesnicka makes a great play in the end zone to break up that pass, which forced a field goal. And then one more nice catch and run. Then after a nice catch and run, the Utah Tech defenders didn't give up on the play, and Jeremiah Jamo comes up with the strip, and Jay Sweeten with the fumble recovery. Again, Sweeten making another impact play for the Trailblazers.
Cody Carlson will be playing his final time in a Trailblazer uniform, got his first sack of the season last week.
Yeah, and Utah Tech held West Georgia to 4 of 16 on third downs. Cody Carlson was a big part of that. That's called getting it done. But then the 4 turnovers in or near the red zone derailed any chance that the Trailblazers had in making a comeback to win that game.
So, Eastern Kentucky's offense, they had a rough go of it last week against Abilene Christian, who were ranked 18th in the country. Eastern Kentucky only turned it over once, but they could not move the ball at all against the Wildcats. Max, 165 total yards of offense last Saturday for Eastern Kentucky. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I think it only have one turnover.
Yeah.
You would assume that they're on the sideline 24/7, but no. Yeah. And we know Abilene Christian's defense is good.
Sure,
we figured that out a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, because like you said, 165 yards isn't going to get it done.
Yeah.
They've only averaged 250 yards on the season total per game. Trailblazers right now are at 320 yards. Like you said, expect a little bit of a shootout today.
But just like the Trailblazers, Eastern Kentucky defense, on the other hand, different stories. They kept the Colonels in the game last week against Abilene Christian, and they get after the quarterback, Max.
Yeah, they had 2 sacks last week, and they're very big and athletic up front. This defense doesn't give up big plays. They don't take a lot of chances with pressure on defense and do some exotic things, but they make you earn it. And they are a turnover machine, the 16th best team in the country at forcing turnovers. So the Trailblazers are going to have to protect the football a lot better than they have the last 2 weeks and not give Eastern Kentucky any freebies because they will take it away.
Yeah, Eastern Kentucky was a playoff team a year ago, but this season not so much. Their season will end today as well. When asked about the trip across the country to St. George, Eastern Kentucky head coach Walt Wells, well, he was sounding more like a travel agent for Eastern Kentucky than a coach.
You know, we've got to go out and handle the trip, handle the road, the flight and everything to go across the country and go out and and play the way we're supposed to play at 2:00. And we've got to just clean up the mistakes that we made against Abilene and get better. Obviously, we've got to produce on offense, and we're looking at different ways to do that and continue to get better. You know, the good thing about flying into St. George is you get to see all the beautiful mountains, you get to see all the beautiful scenery, both coming and going. But no, we don't have a lot of time to go. Now, some of our fans that are going, yeah, they want to go out there. There's a golf course out there that they all keep telling me about that they want to play and all this. And I'm like, hey, man, Jane Worthington, our softball coach, is from St. George. And so she's not going this year, but she's gone with us the last time. And, you know, and she just stays for Thanksgiving and then flies back on her own. So, no, we don't unfortunately, with 140 in your party, it's hard to do anything like that.
Yeah, now the coach was talking about Jan Worthington, their softball coach. She grew up here in St. George, then played softball at Utah State. She's been the softball coach at Eastern Kentucky for over 30 years, the only softball coach they've ever known. Wow. She started the program. And, of course, the golf course you're talking about, Black Desert. They've seen it on TV with the PGA and the LPGA Tour. All right, when we come back, we will get the breakdown from last week's game with West Georgia in the film room, and we'll also get to know one of the seniors playing his final game here in Greater Zion Stadium, as the seniors are now out on the field being honored in their final game here at Greater Zion Stadium.
Welcome to Utah Tech University. From classrooms to cliffs and lectures to lakes. Here, we celebrate active learning, active life. Our Trailblazers learn by doing, are career ready, and solve real problems with real partners to meet community needs. Here, students get the full college experience and choose from 300 affordable academic programs. All in one of the most stunning destinations on earth. With this as your backyard, life is just as active as your education. Come experience active learning, active life at Utah Tech University.
All right, welcome back inside Greater Zion Stadium. Counting down the moments until kickoff. Utah Tech and Eastern Kentucky in the final game of the season. Trailblazers trying to win their third game of the year. And right now down on the field, the seniors, 17 of them being honored. They'll be playing their final game or here in the stadium for the final time of their college football career. Chris Street and Shamar Garrett, a couple seniors there in your pictures with their families being honored as well. So, Max, last week Trailblazers got shut out 23-0. But in this edition of Sounds of the Game, we want to honor the seniors. So time now to take a look back at some of the best moments for these seniors of this past season in this edition of Sounds of the Game.
Hi, I'm Nolan Reynolds.
Cody Carlson gets the sack. That's his first sack of the year. Cody Carlson. That's Brenton Stone right up the middle. Brenton Stone, touchdown, Utah Tech, 45 yards.
Brenton Stone on the carry, 35-yard carry for a touchdown, Trailblazer.
Ball in the air, tipped off and picked off by Devin Perkins at the 34-yard line. And Devin Perkins, for the second consecutive week, gets an interception. Intercepted at the 40-yard line. Brings it back to midfield. Devin Perkins with the interception. Going deep down the sideline. Daniel Thomason makes an adjustment, makes the grab. There goes Daniel Thomason. To the goal line. That's a touchdown, Utah Tech. Oh, what a play, Daniel Thomason. Daniel Thomason! To throw, here comes the pressure. Into the end zone, caught, touchdown! Daniel Thomason! 9 yards from Bronson Barman. Grab, pump fake. Caught! 32-yard line, Daniel Thomason. Picked off! Brevin Chesnicka, the transfer from NAU with the interception. Touchdown, Chris Street. Yard line, that is Shamar Garrett. Missed the last couple of games, but he's back and picks up a huge gain.
So that was Moon Ashby coming off the left side.
Looks left, ball tipped, intercepted by Justin Houston at the 10-yard line.
Hi, my name's Bryce Crowley. I can juggle. That's all I got. That's all I got.
I'm not going to lie, Bryce Crowley, that right there, the juggling, might be one of my most favorite moments of the season. But, Max, some of these players have only been here 1 year, 2 years. Some have been here all four, like Crowley and Nolan Reynolds. You were in this position basically 2 years ago to the day in this stadium. What's it like emotionally for these players a few minutes away from kicking off for the final time in their careers?
Yeah, it's a lot because you're trying to balance making a regular game day, going out and trying to win a football game, and also battling the emotions of your entire life.
Yeah.
Every single football moment you can remember from the time you started playing flashes through your head as you're going up to kickoff. So you're trying to stay level-headed. You're trying to stay even keel, keep the emotions kind of battened down, but then also, soak in the moment, realizing this is it. This is your last one.
Yeah, and you got to soak it in and enjoy it. And one thing that Coach wanted to get to his players this week, hey, have fun. Don't get all pressured up and in the hype and all that. Just go out and have fun and play football because it's going to be your final time. Like you said, no NFL contracts, no postseason for either of these two teams. So, and Eastern Kentucky has 19 seniors playing in their final game as well. Shout out to our Utah Tech student interns, Ariel Fredrickson and Ryan Keith, for editing our Sounds of the Game. Another example, Max, of our mission here at Utah Tech, active learning, active life. All right, well, that was what happened over the past year. Now we're going to find out how everything took place last week in the loss at West Georgia. And for that, we head to the film room. Head coach Lance Anderson breaks it down for us in this edition of Film Session against West Georgia.
I'm going to start with an offensive play that was our biggest offensive gain against West Georgia on Saturday, 43-yard gain. And this came on what we call like a Y-hide or throwback to the tight end. And this has been a very productive play for us all season long. Each week we try to do it a little bit differently, different formation, different personnel group. On Saturday against West Georgia, we ran this out of what we call 13 personnel. So we've got 1, 2, 3 tight ends here on the field. And what we're going to do on this particular play is try to get flow going here to the field, where we're going to flood the field here, run a shallow crosser with the receiver here, quarterback rollout to try to draw the defense all the way over here to the field. And then after blocking and hesitating, we'll leak our tight end Eric Olson out here to the boundary. And if we get the defense to over pursue to the field, it opens up the possibility of a big play, which has happened to us several times this year. So let me run the play here. And again, the big thing to notice here is just, again, the flow to the field as we release the running back out to the flat. Our receiver runs a shallow cross towards the field. And now you see Eric Olson escape here into the boundary. Throw goes to him. Big play down the sideline, 43-yard gain, our biggest offensive gain of the day. Let me take it to the end zone. You just have a chance to see the end zone view. The key thing here is just, again, Eric Olson really selling it like he's going to be blocking down on their defensive end here before he leaks out into the route. Bronson Barban makes a very accurate throw and gets him down the sideline. But again, variations of this play have been very successful for us this season. On offense, I showed you the biggest gain that we had against West Georgia on Saturday. Here on defense, I'm going to actually show you the biggest gain that we gave up defensively, and I'll explain why as we get into this play here. But we've got a third down here, third down and long, third down and about 8 yards to go. We're going to be in, again, what we call a quarter, half coverage, where this safety is responsible for this quarter of the field, the corner is responsible for this quarter, and then our safety here is responsible for this half of the field. What happens when we're in this coverage often, or we get some one-on-one matchups here to the field, and that's what we have right here with our corner Jeremiah Jamo against their outside receiver. And this is often a tough cover, and on this particular down, as you watch the play develop, you're going to see our corner Jeremiah Jamo slip just a little bit coming out of his break, and that leads to a completion here. Now, the play continues to go. We initially miss the tackle. Receiver continues to run, and like I said, this is West Georgia's biggest offensive gain. But the thing that you'll be impressed by are just that we never quit playing. We've got all kinds of guys running to the football, and those guys continue to run to the football until Justin Houston gets involved with the tackle first. And one of the big things we teach on defense is once we get somebody there to the ball carrier, we want to get second and third guys in. And as those guys do that, we want to make sure we are punching at the football and we have a chance to get the football out. So Justin Houston secures the tackle here. Then you'll watch Jeremiah Jamo come in, and he's punching at the football right here. Okay, look at Devin Costello coming in. Wound up here, ready to punch at the football, and when Jeremiah Jamo punches at the football, you see the football come out. Football's loose, and here comes Jay Sweeten from the opposite side of the field, running all the way to the football, and he ends up recovering the football here. So again, a negative play, our biggest gain that we gave up, but there's no better deodorant for something like that than a takeaway, than a forced turnover right here. So again, I want to show the play just one more time, and I really want to point out a couple things here. As this play develops, you'll see how far away from the play, I'll let it play for here a second. Jay Sweeten is clear over here on the other side of the field in coverage. Devin Costello is on the other side of the field, outside of the hash in coverage. But Devin Costello is one of the guys that gets there and is punching at the football. And then here's Jay Sweeten coming all the way from the other side of the field when the ball's right here. Never quits playing, never just assumes that a tackle's going to be made. He's running all the way to the ball, and he recovers it. So again, watch Jay Sweeten, Devin Costello run to the football here. Here comes the ball out. There they are to recover it. Takeaways, turnovers often decide ball games, and a lot of times it's due to tremendous effort, like you see right here on this clip.
All right, the ceremony honoring the 17 seniors playing in the final time here in Greater Zion Stadium has just wrapped up, and now the countdown is on to kick off Utah Tech and Eastern Kentucky. We said that 17 seniors suiting up for the final time, but one of those guys will not be suiting up. Leighton Tonavaso, been the anchor on this defensive line for a number of years, but he's out with a foot injury, not able to go today. How frustrating is that? A chance to play in your final game for the final time and can't do it.
Yeah, sucks to see Leighton out there rolling around on his scooter, trying to survive out there. But he'll be out there cheering on his teammates. But it is kind of sad not getting to put on the pads at least one more time and trying to insert your will and dominance over another person.
Now, one of those seniors is offensive lineman Nolan Reynolds, a rarity these days in college football, Max. He's been here all 4 years, came here out of high school, and he stuck around. Now it's time to get to know Nolan Reynolds just a little bit better in this edition of Trailblazer Tales.
Hi, I'm Nolan Reynolds. I'm a redshirt senior from Riverside, California. Play offensive line, mainly tackle, a little bit of center. I have an older sister who's 4 years older than me. She just graduated, just got her master's from Connecticut and moved back to San Diego, North San Diego. Dad, born and raised Orange County, works in radio. My mom, born in the Philippines, moved to Riverside when she was young and works for the police. Well, I say if you want to live in California and get the full California experience, Riverside is the place to live because you're about an hour away from everything. Hour to the beach, hour if you want to snowboard or ski, hour if you want to go out to the desert and have fun. I surfed once. I mean, definitely going out on the beach a lot. Surfed once, tried it. My size, it wasn't the easiest thing, but I tried it. I at least had to say I tried it once. Snowboarding, it's about the same thing. Tried it once, but going out to the desert, riding dirt bikes, we were always going out there. One of the funniest moments of my football career, and this happens a lot, but this time it happened on TV. I was going out to start the second half at Weber State my sophomore year, and the camera was focused on our huddle, and I start running out there, and I click my knee braces, and all you see me is just fall right in front, right out of the frame. And after the game, I had multiple people coming up for me that either saw it in the stands or they sent me clips of it on ESPN of me just disappearing.
All right, so the embarrassing moment for Nolan Reynolds, at Weber State falling over, his knee braces clicked right on camera. Have you ever had an embarrassing moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, a couple in Little League, but one from here when I was playing at Utah Tech, I'm bald, okay? We'll call a spade a spade. Got my helmet ripped off, okay, during a play. I can't even remember who we were playing. It might have been Abilene Christian. And one of the old linemen points at me, and he goes, "Holy crap, that guy's bald!" And Cyrus Webster, Justin Kirkland, Sam Kenanongata, my boys on the defensive line, instead of backing me up, started laughing with him, okay?
I like those guys. All right, national anthem is taking place. We're under 10 minutes to kick off Utah Tech and Eastern Kentucky in the final game of the season. When we come back, the final word from the head coach. You're bald, man.
Welcome to Utah Tech University. From classrooms to cliffs and lectures to lakes. Here, we celebrate active learning, active life. Our Trailblazers learn by doing, are career ready, and solve real problems with real partners to meet community needs. Here, students get the full college experience and choose from 300 affordable academic programs. All in one of the most stunning destinations on Earth. With this as your backyard, life is just as active as your education. Come experience active learning, active life at Utah Tech University.
All right, the Utah Tech Trailblazer marching band and the cheerleaders out on the field. Under 7 minutes to go until kickoff. Utah Tech and Eastern Kentucky wrapping up here on Trailblazer kickoff with the balding guy and the completely bald guy. Time now for the final word. Head coach Lance Anderson talking about his seniors.
Coach, this is always an emotional day. Final game for the seniors.
Yeah, we got 17 seniors who are completely exhausting their college football eligibility. So it's a special game for them. It's been a special week. Also for this team. I mean, this team's going to never be constituted this way again. It'll be new as we get to the spring. So this is special for all of us. We're looking forward to playing for each other and just putting our best football out there against Eastern Kentucky.
As a coach, how emotional is it for you? Because you're tight with these guys. Some of them are like your own kids.
Yeah, the more you think about it, the more emotional it gets. Because you think about those seniors who are ending their careers, and you just think what that means and everything they've done for the program. You think about all the special moments, but you also think about this team. You think about all the great times we've had together, all the tough times, all the hard work we put in, for back winter conditioning, spring ball, summer, fall camp, the season, just knowing that this is never going to be the same again. And that's why, because of that, we want to give it our all on Saturday. We want to end on a strong note.
How important is this game not only to tap off the season with the win, but also build for next year?
I really think it is. I mean, I've said many times, I think we're making a lot of progress. We're moving in the right direction. We're much more competitive as a football team, but you want that validation. And getting that third win this year, finishing the season with a victory over a team that was a playoff team last year, that means a lot.
So the perfect scenario that you would like your team to play out to get a final win?
I would love us just to play well in every phase. Offense, defense, special teams. We know to get this win, defensively, we got to stop their run game. So that's going to be a key for us. Offensively, we need to finish drives. We need to put the ball in the end zone, need to score points. And on special teams, we need to be sound and make plays that change the game. That's the kind of stuff we want to see on Saturday.
Looking back over the season in its entirety, it's a fine line between winning and losing, and you guys are right on that line.
Well, we really are. You go back to even that UC Davis game with that 17-point lead in the second half, and you wonder, had we found a way to win that game, had we finished that game, does that make the season any different? Because for a team that hasn't won, for a team that's fairly young, a lot of it is learning how to win football games, how to finish games, and we're still searching to do that on a consistent basis. Been a lot of great moments this year. We've been in a lot of football games, but you got to win more games, and that's the direction we're headed.
All right, Max, a couple of minutes away from kickoff. Just give us your thoughts quickly to wrap this thing up about an emotional senior day, final game for a lot of these guys' football career.
Yeah, eliminate turnovers, be better than you have the last couple of weeks, play for pride, and have fun.
All right, that's the final word with Big Max Christensen. We're about ready for kickoff. Utah Tech and Eastern Kentucky. You can watch the game on ESPN Plus. Max and I will have the call, or Devin Dixon and Paul Ratliff over on the Fan Sports Radio. Trailblazers trying to get their third win of the season and end the season on a high note, kicking off with Eastern Kentucky next.